Okay, hello first graders. Today we are looking at lesson 4-8. They're going to be asking us to solve word problems with facts to 20. So we're looking at that together, and we're going to find that on page 273. So if you don't yet have your book out, go ahead and take that out now. I'm going to share my workspace with you here. Okay, so you could see we're on lesson 4-8. Page 273 is where you're going to find that at. And on that first page, I have Jada here with some workspace, and she has a story to share. So I'm going to go ahead and read that, and you can follow along in your book. It says, some books are on a shelf. Aiden puts 4 more books on the shelf. Now there are 12 books. How many books were on the shelf to start? Use objects, drawings, or equations to show your thinking. Okay, so let's go ahead and identify the important information that we have here in this story. So at the beginning, we know that some books are on a shelf. We don't know how many, but we know that there's some on the shelf. Aiden puts 4 more on the shelf. Okay. Now there are 12 books. Okay. So at the beginning, there are some. We don't know how many. Aiden puts 4 more, and now there are 12. So I know that if I have how many there are all together, or the whole, a good strategy to use is the parts to whole chart. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that here. I know that at the end of the story, there are 12 books altogether. I don't know how many books there were at the beginning of the story, how many were sitting on the shelf, but I do know that Aiden added 4 more to get that 12 altogether. Okay, so I can see I have the whole and I have 1 part. In order to solve for that second part, we can use the strategy of counting on. So I can scoop up 4 and count on to see how many more I need to get to 12. Okay, now we've talked about 2 different ways of counting on. You can either scoop it up with your hand and count on this way, or you can scoop it up in the parts to whole and add the little counters as you go. Either way works, okay? So let's go ahead and try adding the counters. So I'm gonna scoop up 4, and from there I'm gonna say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so how many more did I need to add to get to 12? I see 6 here because I have them subitized. 6, 7, 8. Good. So now I know there were 8 books to start. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and turn the page. If you need more time with this, you can go ahead and pause the video. But we're going to go ahead and turn to the next page now. And at the top, I can see Carlos here. I'm in these green boxes. I'm going to go ahead and read, and you can follow in your book. It says, Hunter has some pencils. He gives 6 of them to Margot. Now Hunter has 5 pencils. How many pencils did Hunter start with? Okay, well, let's see what Carlos shares with us. Our directions ask us to write an equation to show the problem. And Carlos says Hunter gives 6 pencils away. So we know he's giving 6 pencils away. We know we're going to be subtracting, right? And we know that he has 5 left. That's the answer to this subtraction equation. That's the difference. What we don't know is how many he started with. Okay, that's what we don't know. So here's Carlos's suggestion. You can think addition to subtract. So he's going to use a related fact. Okay, we know that 5 plus 6 equals 11. He's giving us that information there. So if we know that 5 plus 6 equals 11, we can use that as a related fact to help us with something. Take away 6 equals 5. That's right. I have 11, right? take away 6. If I cross these 6 out, how many would I be left with? I'd be left with 5. Good. Okay. So my answer to that problem is 11. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and look at our guided practice. The directions ask us to write an equation to match the story and solve. And then they want us to draw a picture to help. Okay, so we're going to be doing 3 things. We're writing the equation, we're solving the problem, and we're also drawing a picture to help. And a picture can look like something like a parts to whole chart, or an open number line, or 10 frames. Okay, those can all be considered pictures as we're solving. So let's take a look at number 1. Cal rides his bike on Monday. He rides 8 miles on Tuesday. He rides 14 miles in all. How many miles did Cal ride on Monday? Okay, so let's first identify important pieces. So we know that Cal rode his bike on Monday. We just don't know how many miles he rode, right? We don't know. He rides 8 miles on Tuesday. Okay. He rides 14 miles in all. And the question is, how many miles did he ride on Monday? Okay, well, again, I'm noticing, boys and girls, that I know the whole. I know how many he rode altogether, 14. Okay? If I know the whole, that's very helpful to put into a parts to whole chart to help me organize my thinking. Okay? Altogether, he rode 14. I know, I don't know how many he rode on Monday, right? So I'm going to leave that blank. But I do know that he rode 8 miles on Tuesday. I know that part. So now what I need to do is figure out how many more I need to add to 8 to get to 14. Okay, so this is what my equation would look like. Something, we don't know what yet, plus 8 equals 14, right? Okay, so the first time that we did that parts to whole chart on this other page, we just scooped this up and we added our circles as we counted on. This time, let's try the other way with our fingers, okay? So we're going to scoop up that 8 and we're going to count on until we get to 14. Okay, so you can do this part with me. Here we go. Listen, sounds like this. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How many more did I need? I needed 6 more. Good. So I can put 6 here in my parts to whole, and that helps me with my equation. So now I know it's 6 plus 8 that equals 14. Okay? All right. So looking ahead at your independent practice, the directions ask you to write an equation to match the story, then solve, and finally draw a picture to help. Okay, so you're going to work today on numbers 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so it's important to remember that when you're working with subtraction, which these are all going to be subtraction problems today, you're always starting with the biggest number. Okay, and you want to keep that in mind when you're transferring it to a parts to whole chart, because we know the whole is always the biggest number too. So when you're trying to figure out where to put something, if you're going to use a parts to whole chart, you want to just keep that in mind. Okay, all right. If you have any questions, you can always reach out. Let me know how it's going, and I hope you guys have a great day. I'll be seeing you very soon. Okay, until then, guys, take care. Bye.